Hello everyone, welcome back to In Your Prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Cam.
Last week's episode, we talked about what causes change. But this week's episode, we're going to talk more about the tactics for change, right? How we get to that point when we realize that we need change in life, right? What tools, what techniques we can do to apply change to our lives intentionally, right? So stay tuned, strap up, and let's get into it.
All right, so for point number one, we're going to try to help you guys out with this. Notice, we changed seats. Keeping you on your toes, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. As if that was a big deal. All right.
Smoke bomb, right?
Point number one on how to deal with change. In order to actually fix a problem, what do you have to do first?
Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge the problem. So we got to identify what the change is, right? A lot of us are going through a different time of season, like we're changing from winter to spring. Wait, it looks so sunny outside.
Yes,
it looks amazing. Okay, so we gotta identify what the change is. Change can be scary, but oftentimes change can be very good. What about that person who has just introduced a new baby into their life? What about that person who just went through some sickness? What about the person who is training for a new job, right? Who has a new car, started a new relationship? There's certain amounts of change that are good for us, certain amount of change that can be very scary and very
absolutely
bad. Yeah. Change is change. Change is neutral. It's kind of what we do with it that determines the next route for it. So we got to identify it. Identify what is causing you so much stress. Identify what is making you change up your routine. Identify whatever this new thing is. Because you got to acknowledge it first. If you continue to push it under the rug and continue to just kind of engage in your vice instead of engaging in this new thing, it'll continue to creep up on you. It'll continue to magnify. And eventually it'll be this monumental change instead of this small little change you could have done something about. But instead, we didn't. All right. So first thing, I know it sounds simple, guys. I understand that. We'll take this one simple step.
So guys, for point number two, we're talking about change and tactics and tools to help you change, right? It all starts with the mind, right? Everything you do in life all starts with your brain, right? Psychology is number one in every avenue of life, right? So in order to have change, we have to adopt a new way of thinking about this change. I'll give you an example, right? I was madly in love for a time being, a long time ago. When I lost that supposedly love of my life, it was heartbreaking. It was tragic. We all been through there, right? Crying, tissues, ice cream, calling up your best friend. I don't know what to do. We perceive that life is going to be over, right? But then over time, over months go by, maybe even a year, right? If it was really like a divorce or a long-extended marriage. You know, at first we think we can't live without that person. That person means everything to us. But time goes by, we start to adapt to the changes, right? So that time we went out to that dinner date every single weekend. Now I'll go with the friends, right? Say we went to a vacation every month in June, but now I go with my best friend in July, right? You do these small ways of changing, but starts with your mind, how you see life, right? And over time, that person who was once the person you always talk about every single day doesn't mean anything to you anymore, right? But that's because your way of thinking about that person, perception changed. So when you change, first thing that starts is in your mind. You're thinking about it, right? You have to think about, strategize. So this wasn't going well for me this day. So what can I do about it, right? So first we identified what change needs to be done, right? We thought about it, we strategized about it, we visualized it, right? Now we have to build new habits in order for that change to really be concrete, for it to stick, right? So I brought the example of the heartbreak, the breakup, right? You're going out with new friends, not new friends, but friends you may have had before that you didn't hang out with so much because you're in like deep involved in the relationship. But it needs to be, something needs to be done, action needs to be taken, right? You need to develop these new type of habits or hobbies, right? Something that gets you out of that pattern, right? Because those same patterns lead you to the same outcomes, right? So to change the outcomes, you need to have new patterns. And the way you build those new patterns is by developing new habits, right? And how you develop those new habits by doing the same thing consistently for an extended period of time, right? So that helps you to not only make that change concrete, but makes you to a different person, right? And if you're a different person, then you won't have the same mistakes, right? And the same situations, so it's imperative, right? So it's a kind of a duality in a sense where you need to be thinking about changing and then you need to take action to imply that change, right? So point number 2 is first you think about the change, and 2 you build new habits to make that change concrete.
Point number 3, switch it up on you again. I like that.
Smoke bomb.
Point number 3 is feeding off of point number 2, honestly, because once you change your thoughts, you change your actions, you get different results, right? But there's another thing about you that you have to change. Point number 2 is focused on changing you, okay? Point number 3 is going to be focused on changing the things around you, changing your environment, changing the people that you associate with, maybe even changing your location. Sometimes a job would cause you to relocate for whatever position that you just gained. Sometimes, if I'm looking to cut that weight, if I'm looking to get that beach body, summer's right around the corner now that I think about it. If I'm looking to get that beach body, I'm not going to be keeping potato chips right in front of me on the table just to increase that temptation, right?
Yeah.
I might want to replace that or just keep that in somewhere where it's not always in plain sight, okay? Change the people around you, because you've heard us say it so many times on this podcast, you are the average sum of 5 people that you spend the most time around.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I might have to change my social circle. I might have to change the people that I frequent. Wow, I see what.
Bye, Kim.
I see what. No, well, I'm gonna be leveling up, and he won't be. You might have to change the people around you, because sometimes they might be dragging you down. And let's not focus so much on the negative. Sometimes you have to change the people around you, because there are people who know more than you.
Yep.
There are teachers, there are mentors, there are different classmates, teammates
Absolutely.
who might know more than you, so you might have to start associating with them. Obviously, we don't want to come off as people who are freeloaders, people who just kind of gain information from other people.
Yeah.
We want to come off as people who are willing to learn and yet have something to offer at the end of the day. So,
Reciprocate.
yeah, be very conscious of that. And when you're changing the people around you, you don't want to mooch off of them. You don't want to be that leech. They also want to be able to gain something from you. And I know we don't like to talk about that, but here on this channel, we do talk about the reality of the situation. Every relationship that you go through, there is a give and take, right? I'm giving something to you, you're taking something from me, and vice versa. Where it starts to become a problem is when that becomes imbalanced, and someone's just giving all the time, or someone's just taking all the time. So when you're changing your environment, when you're changing the people around you, keep that in mind. There has to be a benefit in that, and the benefit is you're learning how to deal with the change. And more often than not, people are willing to give you advice. People are willing to give you feedback, because the most important person to another person is themselves. People are self-interested. We all have to be able to look out for ourselves in some way.
Yep.
Okay? So, especially, like, I'll use myself as an example. I'll use myself. I recently got into these races, Spartan races, Savage races, and I love them. But if I had just continued to do the things that I was doing, I would never be able to place very well in these races. I had to eventually get outside my comfort zone, ask people. After the races, I would ask like the top racers, what are you doing that makes you so fast? Or what do you do to gain speed here? How do you run faster? How do you run longer?
What's your number?
Yeah. That's why he's not in the races.
That's why they have to lock off and what me behind the tape.
No, we don't want to come off as that leech or that creep. Alright, we're trying to come off as genuine people in here. People who actually think of you as a child. When you were a child, you were hungry to learn, right? You were curious about things. Your mind would kind of go from, it would ping pong from that.
I was just hungry.
Oh boy. And then when we become adults, we start to lose that sense of asking for help. We start to lose that sense of hunger, that sense of curiosity. In order to deal with change, you have to change your thoughts, you have to change your action. You also have to start to change the people around you. Change your environment. That'll help you be able to create long-lasting change.
Everyone, it's me, Rue, from In Your Prime. Here to remind you, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Because when you do, it helps us grow our channel and put out more content for you guys. Because we appreciate every single time you guys watch our videos. So please like that button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
Changes. So change is the law, ladies and gentlemen. Change will happen whether or not you're ready for it, whether or not you want it. Instead of looking at change as something so negative, we gotta learn to embrace it. Otherwise, we're just gonna stay stuck. Staying stuck sucks. All right, so change is the law. That's something that I've been trying to implement in my life, and slowly but surely, I'm starting to feel a lot. I start to handle situations better because of it. So that's how that's what I think of when I think of change.
When I think of change, I think it's something that's not good or bad thing. It's like a natural process of life, right? It's how you endure it. It's how you receive it. It's how you interpret it, which makes a difference in change, right? If you interpret change as something depressing and bad that you're not getting over, it don't be that way. But I think most change we can always adapt from, grow from, and make our lives better. And if it doesn't that way, we have to accept that change and learn how to live with that and grow with it in time. So I think change is always an opportunity to get better, right? And if it's not, then you have to accept that change in life, move forward with it, right? But here at In Your Prime, we're not tell you what to do or how to live your life. We just more so want to express our views on life. Once again, that has been another episode of In Your Prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Cam.
And this has been part 2 to change. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. We have a lot more videos coming in the future. Please enjoy you guys the rest of the day and take care.
Thank you.